Hey, everybody, it is the Comic Book Gurus, and we are live. We enjoy going live. Everyone is here Craig Legons, Rockstar Rob, and Steph. And we're here to talk James Gunn's Superman 2025. And let's just pop this up right now. Spoilers, spoilers, sweet mother of God. There's going to be a crap load of spoilers. Now, if you're like me, I don't mind spoilers before I go to see a movie. Depends on the movie. If it's a murder mystery, then yeah, probably I don't want to know who done it. But in the case of stuff like this, I'm like a wolf in the wild. I start drooling and I want to find out everything, and I will assess it on its own terms when I see it. But we have all seen Superman, and if you haven't, we hope you will. So maybe you'll stick with us and hear what we're going to talk about as far as this movie is concerned, and maybe it'll get you more excited. The movie's doing quite well. We're now a week past its opening. I saw it last weekend, and I don't know if you can hear that plane in the background, but it's dropping supplies off to me right now. No, I don't know what the hell it is. Apparently there's an air raid going on outside here in Mount Airy. But that said, we want to invite you to comment, check in with us. We can post the comments and see where we stand. So let me get things rolling. Obviously, guys, you know this is pretty free form. So let's do a quick run around the room here, or the virtual room, and we'll go in order of descent, but not in quality. We're just starting with Craig Legons at the top of the list. Craig, your take on James Gunn's Superman.
I liked the movie. Didn't love it. I know a lot of people liked it a lot more than I did. This was, someone say this was James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy DC version. David Cornsweet, local man, great, good Superman. Lois Lane, fantastic. Nicholas Hoult, excellent, top quality Lex Luthor. All the other quality superheroes, good, but not great.
Okay. All right. I love where you're going with that. Rockstar Rob, your take.
I really enjoyed it. It was a little more lighthearted than the Zack Snyder version, which was very dark. And so I enjoyed it. It was colorful. It was fun. Yeah, there were flaws in it. And the main one is, when did Jimmy Olsen become James Bond?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. But from what I gather, and perhaps Greg will verify this, that actually has some connection to comic book canon, that he was a bit of a player, apparently, at some point, for those people who get turned on by that stuff. All right, Steph, you're up next. Your take on Superman.
I also really liked it. I agree with Craig. I don't think it was DC's equivalent of Guardians, but I definitely think it was way better than most of the DC movies that have been coming out. So I'm kind of more optimistic now with James Gunn kind of driving where DC is going. So I don't see as many flaws as you guys, just because you guys know so much about the comic books. But I had a good time watching it. I took my 7-year-old to see it. She also enjoyed it because she liked the violence. So every time Superman slapped someone or hit someone, she got a kick out of that. Not sure what that says about me as a parent, but there you are. And Rob, when I saw Jimmy Olsen, I immediately thought of you, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to hear what he says about Jimmy when we get to this.
Yeah. So you guys are kind of falling in my realm as well as to what I think about it. And I'm just going to hit this again because we will be talking spoilers concerning this. So for me, the pros, the cast, uniformly good. David Cornsweet is a star, and he has he's terrific in the suit. He looks good. He brings so much to it. The cast, Rachel Brosnahan and everybody else, terrific. Nicholas Hoult, great. Yeah, for me, visually solid. The effects looked good. It was bright. It was up. It was about a third of it the way into it. I thought, okay, this is Guardians of the Superman in some ways. It was lighter and airier. I would give it a solid B. As I've told people, if you're a fan or you're a Superman fan, you go see it. It bodes well for where we can go with this. But I would not say it was great. I'd say it was good and fun. I'm a fan of what they did. I found it uneven at some point, and it seems like, and you guys, we can talk about this, and please feel free to jump in. We heard about edits that the movie. There's got to be like an extra half hour, or even more around because you go from set piece to set piece. It's very staccato, bam, 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 bam. And there's really no time to slow down for any emotional stuff. Again, it doesn't mean it's not enjoyable and fun, but for me, I thought Superman got his ass kicked way too much,
Way too many times.
way too
Amen
many
to
times.
that.
And the Justice Gang, very cool, great. I also want my Superman respected a little bit more. Sorry. He is Superman after all. I don't need to feel the full. Well, he's just like me. No, I don't want him to be just like me. I want there to be connections to me through his human parents. But I want to see him do what he does and be that Superman that we need him to be. So, again, enjoyable. What I did though, and I'll say this to you guys after the.
But there was, yeah, I did hear that, Steve, because there were more Clark Kent scenes. One of my big criticisms coming out of the film was that there wasn't enough Clark Kent. There was one scene as him as Clark Kent, and it did a great job from differing Clark from Superman, because this is probably the most pronounced physical difference between Clark Kent and Superman that there's ever been on film. I mean, David Cornsweet with the mop top on his hair and the bumping into everyone as he coming, that was the best Clark Kent I've ever seen. My criticism of Henry Cavill is he was the same guy with the glasses and without the glasses. He was just Superman in a suit.
Yeah, he was slick and affable in both versions. So that there is a good case to be made with that. And if someone was hitting closest to Christopher Reeve's version, let me see. It's been a while since I did this. Make sure you get this. You're seeing me in real time relearn to walk here. So I'm going to just bop this down here. 2 seconds. Let's see. All right. Boom. All right. Bear with me. Yes, you're watching this in real time, folks. Oh, this is what I'm doing. There we go. Boom. Hitting the wrong screen. Okay. Apologize for that. Anyway. So the sort of wonderful, bright-eyed way that Clark Kent was and Christopher Reeve played Clark Kent was, I think, more represented in David Cornsweet's version. Yeah. And so to that point, to I felt, again, entertaining, some wonderful moments. I have a feeling, though, and I noticed it during the Thunderbolts, and, of course, we're crossing universes here. Let me ask you guys about this. I love James Gunn. I love his sense of humor. I love the, obviously everything that he's done with Peacemaker, right? Yes?
Yeah.
And the Suicide Squad and everything else. I love when that creeps in. I think now there's a sense that there's an obligation to have a yuck every couple of minutes. And to me, I'd rather have room to breathe and feel a little bit more. And so I was mentioning that I watched Man of Steel, basically just hours after I watched Superman. And for the moments where I found myself going, wow, where I was caught up in what was going on and I was seeing this guy. I mean, that sequence in Superman right early in the beginning when he, as a boy, pushes the bus out of the river after it's gone off the bridge, and the kid looks at him, and they're, the parents come over and they say he's divine. This is a gift from God, and they're dealing with all that. That to me, there's a number of moments in A Man of Steel. And when I first saw Man of Steel, I thought it was really good, and I don't remember thinking it was great. I since have come around to thinking it's great, and he is my. He's my Superman, Henry Cavill. But Cornsweet is fantastic. I think if Cornsweet were given the same sort of material or a happy medium between the, more real world Man of Steel and this, Not to say that this was a mistake or bad, not at all, but I'd like to see a few more of those moments where you're going, wow, holy crap. And, the sequence in Man of Steel that I found myself this watch through saying, Jesus Christ, that's really good. So the fight in Smallville when, he's being shot at by our military. He's trying to save their lives. And eventually the colonel who's been trying to kill him, I think it's Sears Roebuck where he's been hit by a train and he steps out and the soldiers lower their weapons and the colonel says, this man is not our enemy. And I'm like, man, you get goosebumps. Didn't really have that with Superman. But I've been blabbering on. Guys, what do you think? Take it, whoever wants to go.
I had a similar feeling, Steve, but for me, it was in Batman versus Superman when the scene where Clark Kent leaves Lex's party, and he goes to save the little girl in Mexico on the Day of the Dead festival, and then they cut to a montage of real life scientists, Neil deGrasse Tyson, religious figures, newscasters debating, having a real world debate about whether or not there should be a Superman, intercut with Superman doing these amazing feats of being Superman. And that incredible shot of the family on the roof during a flood and the woman reaching her hand out and just seeing Superman floating in the sky with the same S insignia on her roof like the little boy had in this version of Superman. That was my made me well up type moment in Batman vs Superman, but I didn't get that in this one. And maybe when the little kid raised the Superman flag in Superman, when the John Williams score coming up, that
did it for me, Craig. Yeah, that totally got me.
Steph, yeah.
So Steph, to that point, and you talk about that trailer with that the which I really enjoyed. Some people crapped on it. I'm always like, let me see what you got. I think all these things are, are interpretable. Let's see what you're going to do with this. I want to see. But with that trailer, when the John Williams score was playing, with the electric guitar and that whole approach, and the flag goes up and the kid is teary-eyed and he jumps behind the girl and the rubble's blowing and he's behind him and he's saving the life and doing that. I could have used with some more of that in this. I could have used. I thought it was delightful that he saved a squirrel. I thought where he brought the woman to the and again I'm going to do spoilers, please. When he brought the woman to the roof of the building after saving her during the kaiju clip. I'll bring it up here. And he looks at her and he has a very good, are you okay? And he conveys a lot of warmth. He is a solid actor. He looks the part. This sequence here. When I saw that in the trailer, the problem was we'd seen it in the trailer,
Yeah.
And so again, more of this. He walks the fine line between a god and one of us, and the representation of his Earth parents who have kept him level, but also his Kryptonian parents, and we'll talk about this. His Kryptonian parents were sort of rebels on Krypton. They were, for example, in Man of Steel, they were going against the culture. They wanted better. So, and he represents the synthesis of two good sets of parents. Not so much in this one, but it's okay. We'll talk about that. And I just wanted to see more with that. Rob, what do you think about that mix? Do you think, does this work solely as just straight up entertainment and you take the emotion that there is in it and that's good enough? Or do you think there could have been a little bit more? Because James Gunn's great at it. He can do it, tug at the heartstrings, but I don't think there was enough for me in this. How do you feel?
I liked it because Superman is not supposed to be our enemy, and this was a very warm, friendly Superman where Cavill was, and it's not his fault, but the way that story was written, it was like much more darker in respect to like you're from another planet, you're an alien, you're not one of us. And they addressed that, but it just so much more lighthearted. And the other thing is, I think this movie is supposed to be 3 months or so It is, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but I
No,
think it's
3 months.
3 months that he's Superman in Metropolis. But
Hmm.
one of the
Is
things
it
that
is it
bugged
3 months
me,
or is it 3
It is 3.
years?
It's 3. No, it's 3
it's
months.
3 months.
3 months.
All right.
Yeah.
So, but that what bugged me was, you know, the Clark Kent, which we didn't see enough of. He was always this bumbling guy, but he always got like the best stories. But like, okay, he's only 3 months in Metropolis, and Lois already knows who he is. I mean, we lost that thing. Will they? Won't they? That happens
Because they already were.
in.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah,
let me ask you though, Rob. There's no capsule coming to Earth. There's no Mom Pa Kent finding him sequence, and I'm fine. I don't need the origin story over and over and over again.
right.
Do you think though, with this world, this Superman, the way we have it set, do you think they still needed to reset things a little bit more? In other words, not reset from the beginning, but reset this environment this way, this tone, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think they just jumped to 3 months in. He's already established who he is. Obviously, when you already mentioned it, he gets beat up through the whole movie. Superman, and he's getting his ass kicked left and right. But um, it's still like he's already established. He's already there. He's not new anymore. So I think it was good, and I think the this was supposed to be the first time he lost anything. He lost a fight. He lost. So he's just has to come to grips with that. He doesn't know what that's like to lose.
Right. So again, when something would start to catch, for example, and again, spoilers, um, in the prison where the man who gave him a falafel for free, yeah, it's sad and emotional, but it could have been a lot more emotional if we had a little bit more time to breathe. If
Yeah.
and so and that may, as Dave from Monster Mania said, it could be that we I don't think they were planning on releasing this as 4 hours. They shot a 4 hour cut, but in this case, I might say the extra half hour would have made a difference. So when a scene gets going or you set up a scene like that, that's I mean. Lex, whacks that dude, with
Yeah.
it blows his brains out, and that's pretty brutal. But for the brutality, I'm like, oh, that was unpleasant. I would have preferred to have been, oh Jesus, this poor guy who's done nothing but try to help Superman is, you know, uh, so I don't know if that's a product of they just had to excise as much as they could for the theatrical release, or if that wasn't baked into the original script for that because they were covering so much ground. And I wonder if the inclusion of the other well, let's talk about his buddies. We have Hawk Girl. We have talk about the Lantern and
Metamorpho.
Metamorpho and give me your take on it. Was in this case, was it a case nobody handles multitudes of people better than James Gunn?
James Gunn.
But was it too many for this movie?
No,
Uh,
Steph, you want to take that?
yeah,
I
go
mean,
ahead.
I wasn't familiar with some of them. I mean, I knew of Green Lantern, but and I love Nathan Fillion, so that was really really fun to see him as that character. Was that Mr. Terrific right there?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is, yeah.
I wasn't familiar with him either, but loved him and would love to see more of him. Um, so yeah, I mean, I didn't feel like overwhelmed by the amount of characters because I'm typically already overwhelmed because I don't know so many of them anyway.
Okay.
But there were some that caught my attention and enjoyed. I mean, um, the female that we just saw, what was her name?
Hawk Girl.
Hulk
With the
Girl?
wings.
Hawk Girl.
Yeah, Hot Girl. Like they didn't really do much with her.
Hawk to
I
a
don't
girl.
know. Oh my God. But yeah, they didn't really do much with her, so I don't know if you took her out of it. I don't think it would have changed the movie very much. But again, if it was edited down from 4 hours, maybe she had more time to evolve a little bit. Hopefully they'll release it like they did, like Zack Snyder did with Batman. It'd be kind of interesting to see, what was taken out.
Right,
But you know
right.
what? You know what? If you did have her, then it wouldn't have been as good with Nathan Fillion, because he needed to kind of look like a leader that's a buffoon, and so he had to
I think
have
Mr.
other
Terrific
people there.
did a good job with that though, because I mean, she made that one quip about his stupid hair, but I mean, I think Mr. Terrific did a good job, like you said, Rob, of kind of making him be like, really, like you're supposed to be the leader here, you know?
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I
so
loved at the end when they were talking about the name, and
Yeah.
Metamorpho goes, "Oh, Justice Gang, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, you're
He's
in."
like, you're in.
yeah, no. Again, he does that stuff well, and those little passages are great. But for that, I would have liked to have had the collective have a. They were pretty much there to help to pull Superman's ass out of the fire a couple times. A, B, there for the Guardians, you have the mixtape scene where he's sitting there and crying. You have the scene where in Guardians 2 where Rocket turns around and says, during the funeral, he says he has a revelation about, even if you take batteries, or your friends will be there. They'll understand. They'll, basically saying he's been beating up on himself. And those moments with this collective, I think, would have helped. It was a lot of pithy banter and a lot of
Yeah.
but it was in a movie where we're learning about this new Superman and immediately take to him. I don't know how you couldn't. I would have liked to have spent more time with that. Let me ask you, the 500-pound, 1,000-pound gorilla in the room, concerning and spoilers with his Kryptonian parents, Jor-El and Lara, right? Isn't that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that he was actually told to come to Earth and take
rule.
over and bang some bitches.
And rule. Yeah, that type. The parents of Superman, Jor-El and Laura, have been that story's been told and retold. And during the course of this live stream, I'm going to use the word retcon a lot. I apologize, but the DC universe is known for that. Superman's parents their story's been told and retold several times and in different variations, to the point where they not only were they going to send Superman to Earth, but in some variations of the story, he was sent specifically to Smallville. So they already had his parents
really?
picked out. Yeah,
Really?
I didn't know that either.
of where to go. And they touched on that a little bit in Smallville.
Do you know what occurred to me in this, Greg, too, is that the movie Brightburn, which was
Yeah.
produced by James Gunn, is
Exactly.
the answer, the contrary answer to
Superman gone wrong.
Superman gone wrong. What if the little guy turns out to be a prick? And in fact, when he's summoned to the capsule on the farm with the quasi Monpa Kent, he finds his mission, which is to dominate. And not only that, he's performing lab experiments on. He has one of his nemesis, a woman. He has her, cut open like a deer. So he's gone the other way. He's hit this area before. So if there was an itch to address that, that's what that movie's about.
The Superman
What do you think,
parent
Craig?
thing. I think, and with there've been so many variations on Superman's parents, and what their mission was for their son was always for him to go to Earth, because even Marlon Brando said it: the yellow sun will give you powers, the lighter gravity will give you the ability to fly. There was an Elseworlds saga. That's DC's version of What If. I'm really going to geek out here, where Jor-El originally built the rocket ship for him. and he left his wife and young Kal-El on Krypton to explode because he could go to Earth and rule accordingly and turn Earth into a brand new Krypton, since he was going to leave his. And there have been so many other variations. What if Superman's rocket landed in deepest, darkest Africa and he was a super Tarzan? What if it landed in World War II Germany? What if it landed in Gotham City and Thomas and Martha Wayne found the baby Kal-El? The same thing would have happened.
I
but
think
he
there
would
was
have
a
been,
story where he landed in Russia.
yeah,
Yes,
And that's when
and
he
in
became
fact,
Ultraman.
they did it. They did the DC animated wing did a great movie, a theatrical. You guys saw that?
yeah. It was called Red Son, Redson, Red
Yeah,
Son.
it's terrific.
It is amazing. But the Jor-El and Laura were always meant to send Kal-El to Earth, and in other iterations, he was sent to rule. And another situation, he was sent to be a Superman, but only for good. But he was sent there specifically. That's just one variation of the Bradley Cooper Jor-El, that he was sent there to rule and to bang hoes.
So let me ask you about this. Listen, I like, and there's a meme going around now which shows, Brando saying, here's these people you can help them and you can be, and Russell Crowe I thought was tremendous in the role as well, and his hope, and I mean that whole sequence. By the way, Dan, our good friend Dan
Dan.
Colachico, I need a Mr. Terrific movie tomorrow. I could not agree more. It's sensational.
Yes.
And we'll get into that a little bit as well, Dan. But with, listen, there are a lot of people who position this as a James Gunn versus Zack Snyder. By the way, they're the best of friends, and James Gunn wrote the script for Dawn of the Dead. So they go back and they've been trading this stuff back and forth for a while. I'll say this is that. Russell Crowe's father again delivers a whole bunch of great sentiments when Superman steps out into the light and he's being enriched by the sun, and Cavill, puts his fist down to the ground and the pebbles lift, and he's talking about they'll join you and they'll be with you. Not that it was, not that hey. These fuckers are easy to dominate, and the women are pretty hot. So why don't you bang them 10 at a time, and then if they piss you off, just really, it's a contrary sentiment, and Gunn's making the point though that you make your decisions. So he decided to align with his parents. So there's a twofold thing here, and I want to ask Steph on this. We have a living Pa Kent. And the death of Pa Kent is part of one of the big steps in Superman's life. It sets him off in his in many different ways in his journey and what happens. Here we have the ability to have Pa Kent give him some wisdom. In fact, he gives the wisdom that normally Martha Kent would be giving. So what did you think about that? What did you think the way the parents were depicted and that sweet moment with his father?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly the word I was going to say, was that it was so sweet, because we didn't really see much of them up until that point, and he was struggling so much with his his birth parents, and what he ended up finding out was their goal for him, which he was like, this is totally not at all what I thought I was going to be here for, and how he embraced being doing what he was doing for good and to help everyone. So to have that kind of like slap in the face of like, oh my God, this is what they wanted me to be. I'm trying to live up to their expectations. But then he's, talks with the parents that raised him. And I thought he gave him such great advice of just, your decisions is what makes you who you are. I really loved that little moment between the two of them.
Did you think, and let me ask you, Craig, and I get it. I get there's a bit of humor here. Were they just a touch too yokely?
That's what I loved about them, Steve. These were the first Ma and Pa Kent that were Ma and Pa. They're from Missouri.
Yeah.
They're supposed to sound like, I mean, I'm supposedly Kevin Costner is from Kansas, or Glenn Ford, maybe. But these guys, they were the most authentic Ma and Pa Kent that it's
Or
ever been on
at least
screen.
as we believe. So
Yeah.
I've been to every state in the country, and I wouldn't say that we must be in Mom Pa Ken territory here because they don't know how to use a cell phone. But no, I know what you're saying, and I found them funny, but I also want when the much maligned scene in Man of Steel, which I happen to love, and I've since grown to understand it. The tornado scene where
Kevin
Pa Ken
Costner.
Costner waves him away and says no. That was as much as Superman could have easily saved him, but it was more an object lesson about his thing that the notion that he had ascribed to, which is you now's not the time to reveal it. I believe so much that this is not the time that I'm going to sacrifice myself now to show you. You need to understand why. Because as you pointed out, Rob, a large part of that movie was they may not, the people of Earth may be terrified of you. You need to play this the right way.
Hey, I have a question
Sure.
open for everybody. Where was the kryptonite?
That's
The
a question.
kryptonite that they copied or that Metamorpho copied?
We never saw any kryptonite other than what Metamorpho did, but nobody has kryptonite.
Huh.
It was
Let me just
never
bring this-
addressed at all in that movie, except for him manufacturing it through Metamorpho. So how did they know that kryptonite could wound him if there's no
Well,
kryptonite?
Luthor
Well, that-
knew. Nobody else did. So Luthor, and
But
this
how?
may be we don't know, and that's in the 3 months that Superman's been here. Because we're picking up right when at the 3 month mark. Superman and Lois Superman in the 3 months has come to Earth, has let himself known. Clark Kent started working at the Daily Planet from day one. Lex Luthor has been on a mission to end Superman. So this culmination started when, all this on the same day. And by the way, the Superman movie took place in 4 days.
Okay.
But he's been got a lock of his hair to clone him and find out where Superman goes. So
All right, so all right, I'm gonna need to jump in here too because you're right. You're bringing up a timeline that I hadn't really thought about. So he's been out. He came out as Superman 3 days ago. 3 months.
3 months.
Or three?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
3 months. So in that time, that is a lot of legwork to determine that kryptonite. So if he reveals himself to the world that kryptonite is his kryptonite, and that you have been doing this world search for any DNA, finds a hair on the edge of a toilet seat in Dubai or whatever it was, and makes again Ultraman, there's a lot of legwork involved there. That is a compressed timeline. So to your point, Rob, I was just about at the point where I was going to say you need to slow your roll, buddy. But you're right. To determine that is kryptonite, that is his kryptonite. That's kind of a quick turnaround and a quick assessment. Corey writes, I didn't realize Bradley Cooper played Jor-El. Saw the clip online at him and looked it up, and sure enough, it was him. Yeah, they had him looking.
Yeah.
They had him and the actress who was playing Lara, right?
They look stoned.
They were speaking some sort of Yiddish hybrid, I heard.
Yeah, they used a Yiddish and Ukrainian dialect to mimic a foreign language, and Bradley Cooper had to have a dialect coach for it to sound
So I
like.
wonder how one in Yiddish would say, bang as many whores as possible, because that was his
Google
advice.
Translate. Let's figure it out.
There was a
Bang some whores.
There was a Blazing Saddles meme I saw, Steve, where it was Bradley Cooper as Gene Wilder saying to Cleavon Little, who's Superman, these are simple folks on Earth, morons.
Yeah, morons.
What
yeah.
did they say in Mallrats? Wasn't it like if Superman has all the strength from the Yellow Sun, only Wonder Woman's womb would be able to handle it?
Yeah.
Rachel Brosnahan. I really their chemistry is
Yes,
palpable, man, and she's
he
great.
gave me
She's a great
such a
Lois
mark.
Lane. What did you guys think? Let's start with you, Steph. Her performance and her depiction as Lois Lane.
I mean, I thought she was fine. I only know her from Miss Maisel. I didn't even finish that. But so I don't know. I thought she was fine. I didn't really have any strong feelings either way. So she was fine.
Well, okay.
Wow.
She hit me a lot. She hit me a lot more. I thought she had the right sort of sexiness, competence. She actually is practicing journalism, and she's holding him to task when they have their little exchange,
She
which I thought was really cool.
she gave strong Margot Kidder vibes to me. I think her chemistry with David Cornsweet was amazing. You probably saw, Steve, the screen test for the Richard Donner Superman. They had some of the
Yeah,
most beautiful actresses reading opposite Christopher Reeve, Leslie Ann Down, Susan St. James, and uh, Holly Palance, and all these gorgeous women, reading opposite. But Margot Kidder and Christopher Reeve had chemistry. And nothing against Margot Kidder, she was attractive, but um, the chemistry is what sold it. And Rachel Brosnahan and David Cornsweet, I mean, I hope they're both married because what they did
dude,
on screen was
dude.
they were amazing.
There's a viral clip floating around of them doing the staring game, nose to nose, and before I knew
Yeah.
David Cornsweet was married and apparently happily so, and I'm like, I thought to myself, if they are not getting it on, I mean, this is that's heavy duty chemistry. But I think she also really respects him because apparently he's a really nice guy and was very respectful to her. And how it's great that he's from this area and everything. We're trying, obviously trying everything on earth to get him on the show. But again, that's all those elements are there. Let's hop on over to Jimmy Olsen.
Hey, Bond.
Again, good performance. A little limited. I think everyone got something, but there was a bit of a short shrift. Skylar Gizondo, I think we were talking about the importance of Jimmy Olsen. What did you guys think of the fact that, again, if we're talking about shorthand in this movie, which we all enjoyed, I think nothing is represented more as shorthand. It turns out that Jimmy's not really wanting a girlfriend is right with Lex and just happens to be taking selfies that have all the incriminating evidence. That seemed for Gunn a little too on the nose and quick to resolve that issue. Like, where's Superman? Well, my girlfriend tells me he's in this pocket universe.
Yeah.
Did you guys find that a little too quick?
Yeah, but
Do you
I also
realize?
understood what.
Sorry, Craig, but it just hit me. Do you realize that if Jimmy Olsen was Superman and his parents told him go to Earth and bang every woman, he would have.
Yeah, this guy
It's
was.
very insightful.
It was. With this Jimmy Olsen,
Rob, let Rob live in the moment first. Hey, it occurs to me that if Jimmy had been sent to
Olsen
Earth
was Superman.
and told to bang every woman, he would have. Um, all right.
This Jimmy Olsen is different from all the other obviously Jimmy Olsens. I mean, he's got the youthful demeanor. He's even got the freckles, for God's sake.
Yeah.
But
You think you think he's like a good version, better
yeah,
than some of the others?
yeah, and I wouldn't say better, just different, because just like we've done with so many Superman characters, and going back to Mon Pa Kent, in some universes, and I'm going to use this word again, retcon. Originally, with Mon Pa Kent, they were still with Superman when he was Superboy, and they were gone by the time he was Superman. And another version, Ma Kent died, and it was Pa that raised him mostly. And another in the movies, we see that Pa Kent died, multiple times. But when they retconned it again, both his parents were still alive. In this
Do
one, they're
you
still alive.
do you remember
And
the scene where the girl was like, "You don't like my feet"?
yeah, Mutant Toast.
Right.
Yeah,
That was like a throwback to Boomerang with Eddie Murphy
yeah.
Or
because he
What the,
always looked at their
it
feet.
could have been a coincidence. I don't. Gunn
yeah.
might not have said during a Monday morning meeting, we have to make a reference to Boomerang.
Yeah, I don't think James Gunn was anywhere near the set of Boomerang, but
We
it was a
need
good catch
something
though,
from
Rob.
Baby's Day Out in this
Yeah,
movie.
we'll stick in there. But I was saying about this Jimmy Olsen again, retcon. Original Jimmy Olsen, red hair, freckle, looked like Archie from Archie comics. I think that's what he was based on.
Howdy
But
doody.
he was Superman's pal,
Yeah.
and was Mr. Action and would go find but he wasn't a ladies' man. Maybe the one in Supergirl was when they again recast and redid him.
Yeah, he
But
was a
this,
stud.
yeah,
But that was
exactly.
believable.
That was believable. This Jimmy Olsen is from. I think they took that from the early 2000s Jimmy Olsen, where he would schmooze to get his sources. He would schmooze, and he was kind of like a Tony Stark light type of guy that was doing it just to chase a story. So like
Did
he
you
had
see those
people.
intern girls?
Yes,
It's-
we
oh
saw the
my
movie.
God, he
Rob.
looked at me.
Yeah. And it works. And Skylar Gisondo is not a bad looking,
No.
man, but in order to get a story, that's what he'll do. So of course he's going to tell Miss Tessmacher, and that bugged me that they didn't yell out her name one time.
Right, because Valerie
get-
Brine played Miss Tessmacher in the in Miss Tessmacher with Gene Hackman yelling. What did you think about? Was she even by Miss Tessmacher standards? I really thought she was fun, and she was giving her all in the performance. Was she a little one notish?
Yeah, and given the fact that there was no even Eve Tessmacher, that was strictly a Richard Donner creation for the movie. So this was she's based on a character that was never a character. So I think what she did was great.
The engineers. Let's go through some of these people because we've been prattling on. I want to make sure we hit that. The rest of these guys. The engineer. I have to admit, I'm not as comic intensive as you guys are. I thought the character was pretty cool. Where does the engineer fall in the comic book lore, and how similar? Again, early on when I saw this, way back last week. But I said this had the feeling of cracking open a comic book in like the mid '80s, and it had that feeling and vibe. And they were hitting a lot of these characters that I was just peripherally familiar with. Does the engineer, as depicted in the movie, jive with what we see in the comics?
Yeah, she was never really part of the Superman lore. She was in a group called the Authority. It started in '99, but they had her. She looked great because she's made of liquid machinery, and the effect, especially in when they were in the Fortress of Solitude, when she did the handstand and her body reversed, that was amazing. That was right. That was straight comic book stuff. But
Right.
her. Yeah, was a very accurate portrayal from the comics. Nailed it.
And so, yeah, okay, cool. I did like her. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about the Hammer of MC, which again, spoilers if we haven't said it enough, is Ultraman, who is basically is the clone of Superman. So again, I just want to make sure we're getting this out here because it is early on in the week. Second week of the movie out. Are we led to believe, and anyone can take this, that this Ultraman, or does it happen in the comic books, that he becomes Bizarro Superman?
Yes.
Huh. How about one for me?
Yeah, Ultraman. It's been around. It's an evil version of Superman that really came out in 1964, actually, in the Justice League comic. But again, it's been retconned. Hate to keep using that word. Redone over and over again. And there was an Ultraman, an evil version of Superman that stayed, maintained all of his intelligence and just had the U on his chest instead of the S. And but what we saw in the film was this clone of Superman being sucked into the pocket universe with all these cubes, and the cube, if you're fan of Bizarro, in Bizarro world, his world is square as opposed to the Earth being round, and everything is opposite. So when there is a sequel to this movie, they've already got the Bizarro storyline already teed up for us.
Ready to go. So we talked about Mr. Terrific, and I thought honestly, next to Superman, obviously a scene stealer.
Yes.
Did a lot in the
Yeah.
movie, especially during the kaiju fight. Basically, took out again spoiler the kaiju for Superman. So here's a character that I assume we're going to see again because he definitely stole the show. Craig, you sent over a couple things. Let me call them up here. I've got so many pictures and stuff. We have Mr. Terrific down here, as in the movie, and we have Mr. Terrific has appeared in both Arrow
Oh my God, I
and
totally
Superman.
forgot he was an Arrow.
Yeah,
That's what I
That's
thought. I
right.
was surprised by when you said I never saw it. It's like, didn't you watch
Oh my
Arrow?
God,
I know
I
you
totally
remember.
did.
Yes.
I have no memory, guys. I'm old now. I don't remember anything. Like legit, that the woman that I don't even remember her name now.
Miss
But she
Tessmacher?
was totally forgettable. I didn't even remember her.
Right.
Mr. Terrific was the only one that I remembered. Like the women in this movie, 100% forgettable for me. But Mr. Terrific, I totally loved, and I totally forgot he was an Arrow. That's great. I did see
Yeah.
him before.
So explain the history of this character. Listen, from what I know of the character and knowing it from the CW and those shows and a comic book or two, they pretty much nailed him with this film. The actor, here, let me call him up. What's this?
Eddie Gathegi.
Right.
He was in. You might remember he was Darwin in X-Men First Class.
Yeah, he was
And,
great. He has
yeah.
an early demise.
Yeah, and he was not happy with that. And
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I think this was his way of getting back at being left out, being taken out so early in X-Men First Class. This Mr. Terrific stole the movie. His character Michael Holt was a child prodigy, several degrees, and he was also an Olympic decathlete.
Moral compass of Superman. Just like when we had in Guardians, like Yondu, at least it seemed like he didn't have the moral compass.
Until he proved that he did.
Right.
That he-
and
that
I
he was
think
good.
They
that's
don't.
kind of what
Heroes
happened
need to
in
have
this
one.
movie. Because when they were fighting the monster, he was trying to save the monster. They didn't care. They wanted to kill him. But then when he saved Superman, it kind of showed more of a moral compass.
So this character was definitely a breakout, and as we said before, where people are already talking about a spin-off. So hep me to what we are going to be looking at now, because obviously the word is we have Supergirl, who makes
Yeah.
an appearance at the end. Let me see if I have. Do I have? Yeah, she's actually in here as well. We'll go down to, where does she pop up?
And it was my fault for reading the internet when I heard that Supergirl was going to be in it. I thought that's who Ultraman was. I thought that was Supergirl because you needed Kryptonian DNA to enter the Fortress of Solitude. So when I saw the long hair when the mask first came off Ultraman, I thought, oh, that's Supergirl. That makes sense. And when it wasn't, so that's what threw me. But yeah, the actual Supergirl, Millie Adcock from House of Dragon, wonderful, drunk, and
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
Just a quick
know,
thing here,
She
Dave
likes
from
to go to
Dave.
where
Just a
the
quick
red
thing.
sun.
Just a quick thing here. Dave from Monster Mania says the audio drops out when I show the trailer. Let me just see what
Okay.
the deal is. 1 second. Let me see if it
Yeah,
needs to
Dan mentioned.
skip that trailer, and then when we show regular clips, it stays up. I must have had a preset on that. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, yeah, to your point, a lot of people were surmising that this Kara Zor-El, Millie Alcock, who was she in Game of Thrones?
House of the Dragon.
House of the Dragon. Okay. Yeah. So she has what I thought was I get the comedic aspect of it, and then she parties by going to solar systems with red suns, I guess is the deal.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we'll see what that is. But is that in fact the next movie up?
Yes, it's a year from now, actually. June 26th, 2026 is the target date for Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. And that's where we're getting the story from. The story of the Supergirl movie will be an adaptation of the graphic novel Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. I meant to show you a picture of Millie Adcock reading that Supergirl graphic novel.
So we'll be getting Lobo.
Yes, and we'll be getting Lobo in that Supergirl.
Jason Momoa.
Yeah, in that story, Steve, Supergirl also came from Krypton, but from a different section of Krypton, and where her city was preserved. But it's still, she still had to say goodbye to her parents anyway because she was sent to Earth a little before Clark was. But her rocket got sidetracked, so she not only lost her parents, but the world she was on got wiped out by the same entity that wiped out Krypton. So she's going from world to world trying to find. She's lost everything, so she's so despondent that she has a devil may care attitude. So she gets drunk, she gets into fights. She
don't even blame her. Yep.
Yeah.
Steph can commiserate. I'll say this. She has the distinction of she was alive. She knows what the world was. Superman never knew his home planet.
No.
Yeah.
Right. She's supposed to be older than him, but because her rocket got derailed and didn't make it to Earth, he landed first, so he grew up first.
Interesting. So what are any other characters, because we're coming up on a little bit over an hour, what else do you guys want to hit before we send this one off into the record books?
I will tell you that Guy Gardner, Nathan Fillion, your favorite, Steph, you can tell how much he loved playing this character of Guy Gardner. Apparently in the new series produced by James Gunn coming to HBO Max, Lanterns, that tells the story of the other Green Lanterns, Hal Jordan, played by Kyle Chandler, and John Stewart, played by Aaron Pierre. It's kind of like an intergalactic buddy cop show. Apparently, Nathan Fillion curses his ass off in this series.
I heard that, yeah.
And I really like to see. I'm looking forward to that because Guy Gardner has always been like the Shemp of the Lanterns, always looked down upon and really not taken seriously. Even though he's been appointed as Green Lantern of Earth, it's like, oh God, out of all the people, why you give it to him? So that's who I'm looking forward to. And you're seeing the message that I just got about the
right. The stream got suspended on YouTube. Now, for me, it's always been about audio when it's on YouTube. So I don't know what could have possibly been the case here. So,
I wanted to bring one thing up before we go. Mm-hmm. I just saw an interview today with James Gunn.
Yeah.
And this is going to be about when you were like, what's coming next?
Yeah.
Right. They asked him about like Batman and what's the suit going to be, and he says, he says, if you look at the comic books, because they're different writers and different artists, the themes and the tone of the books are all very completely different. And in these movies, they tried to make everything the same, like the Snyder, it all was the same. But he said his versions of these, they're going to be all very different. Like they're doing a Clayface movie, and it's going to be a horror movie.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
So,
well, listen, it's all exciting. I'm not going to say that this is reset everything, and that I'm like, oh my God, okay, this is I was blown away, and that I'm foaming at the mouth, excited. But I thought it was solid. I enjoyed Superman. I think James Gunn has a pedigree that always makes it interesting to see where he's going to go with this stuff. I think it's in good hands, and they'll find their way. So again, I look forward to everything. I look forward to his Batman, and I know some people just get really territorial about these things. It's like, for me, it's the more the merrier. So since now I'm going to go check and see what supposedly the YouTube violation was, because we don't do this a lot, and the truth of the matter was that the live stream goes over well, but I was always under the impression that it was the audio that was always the big deal. So, and we were running clips. It may have been that we were running an IMAX trailer, so which everyone apparently liberates anyway. So, but anyway, I'm going to ask you all, if you can, and you enjoyed what you watched, subscribe. Go back to the YouTube channel if you can. It is the Comic Book Gurus. Obviously, we have a big movie coming up next. It is the Fantastic Four, and we'll do another live stream for that and take it from there. Guys, anything else you want to say?
Yeah, go see Superman in a theater.
Yeah, and 4DX will rattle your goddamn molars out of your head. So, go check that out, guys. Until next time, thanks for spending some time with us, and we will see you soon. Have a good one.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.